infertile couples by giving them the babies.
We had one of the largest infant adoption figures in the Western world. 1 in 13. 1 in 13 were placed for adoption.
Back in the 60s, church homes like this were the acceptable face of adoption, where young women could live out their pregnancies and hide their shame. When their babies were born, they'd go to good homes with married parents, and the girls would have a second chance at life.
My parents gave me the choice of keeping the baby, and they would help to support me and the baby, but they said if I wanted to do the right thing, I should have it adopted and give it another life that it could enjoy.
What does the father of the child feel about it being adopted?
He thinks it's the best thing for it. He thinks that perhaps if it had a father and a mother and a good life at home, he thinks that would be the best thing for the baby.
Now, what will you be able to find out, if anything, about the child's new parents?
Well, the only thing we're told about them is that they have to be very secure, both financially and emotionally, and they've got to own their own home, and if they have a car, they've got to own the car. They've got to be good citizens and go to church.
Will you be able to see your baby after it's born?
I've been told that we're allowed to see it after we sign the adoption papers, but not before.
This rosy view of the old system was shattered in the year 2000 by a New South Wales Parliamentary Inquiry. Following years of complaints from women whose babies were adopted out, the inquiry found widespread abuse by the authorities at the time.
We have dealt with those issues, and we've made some conclusions about conduct that was definitely unethical and also definitely unlawful.
One of the main procedures found to be illegal was the routine practice of preventing girls from seeing their babies after they were born.
Yes, I was shocked at the time.
Dr. Arthur Chesterfield Evans was a member of the inquiry. He'd had a brutal lesson on his first day in the labour ward when he found out unmarried mothers were not to be shown their babies, a practice so widespread that a woman who gave birth in another state tells the same story.
I was a naive 18-year-old.
Well, I was a medical student at one of the big Sydney hospitals, and I was on the labour ward.
And there was this young doctor, really nice young doctor.
And there were drapes from the stirrups to each side.
So I couldn't see what was going on, and you could hear the voices and that.
So there I was, I sort of delivered this baby, and one of the matrons grabbed it and they cut the cord and sort of whipped it out of the room.
And I was screaming, I want to hold him, I want to hold him. Bring the baby here.
And she's looking at me.
He said, I'll try and get him back, I'll try and get him back. I'll bring him back, you'll see the baby. They're just going to weigh him, clean him up, and they'll bring him back.
And of course, I didn't realise that she wouldn't realise that the baby was going to be whisked away and she was never going to see it.
And he went outside and you could hear him and the head sister fighting, and he was saying, well, bring the baby back. And she said, no, this baby's for adoption. He said, bring the baby back.
And I thought, wow, you know, like this was my first delivery. This was normal, so I didn't know what normal was. This was just what happened.
And next thing he came in and he said to me, I will get the baby back for you. He said, now remember this, he said, it's 1:15 and the baby is £7.11.
I never saw her or the baby again.